I was thrilled and happy with the whole process from the first time I connected with you. And you asked me if I was Michael Feeley of other books, and I said, no, not me. You didn't quit on me. You didn't go, oh, then forget it, because I'm looking for a big star. You were like, no, and here's some free material I want you to look at as to what we do. And then I took it, and I'm who I am. I wrote down the answers. I read it, I wrote answers. I read it, I wrote answers. That was it. But you, and I'll talk about it in the video or whatever, showed up on LinkedIn consistently. You still are. All the others come in for a couple of weeks and disappear. And you're there with integrity. Hi, let's write a chapter. I thought this is brilliant. Write a chapter. And then somebody's going to say, let's write more. Let's write a book. Then we go from there. And every day you're out there with two or three others. You're inundating consistently and persistently what it means to publish a book. And then you're giving all this information. For me, that was a winner. That's what made me go, let me contact Anne. Let me see how much it's going to cost. Let me send her. And that was the other thing, and I'll talk about it, the process. You didn't just read it for 2 or 3 weeks and come back and say, hi, this is what I think. You came back with 20 pages of magnificent criticism. Really, I didn't expect it. I didn't know what to got it. And I went, okay, so she's a good critic because she said, this is good, this needs work, and this is no. Don't even go there. Thank you. And I was like, well, a food critic does that, a sports critic does that. The critic at the New York Times says, oh, this show was brilliant here. It needs work there. And, don't worry. I hated the lead or whatever. But that's what a good critic does. And that's one of the things that made me realize I'm in the right hands. This is it. This person knows what she's doing in a field that I don't. I just didn't. I had this much knowledge and this much. And I was like, okay, can I live with that? No, I couldn't have done it.
All right, so I'm going to just enter in
Great.
because the beautiful thing is Jafar is the dude who comes in and edits everything and makes everything look beautiful. And you're
Oh,
going to see yourself on LinkedIn soon because of Jafar. But what I want to do is I want you to hold up your book and I want to show you, we're beginning right now, Michael Feely,
mm,
because I think that there's nothing more enjoyable than seeing an author named Michael Feely hold up his book to the camera and show the next act. And I want to see the subtitle. But you have to hold it up because I can never keep a subtitle in my head. So
can you see it?
hold it back and tell me what the subtitle is.
You
Tell
want
me
me
what
to?
your subtitle is.
My subtitle is A Complete Guide to Career Change, Professional Reinvention, and Finding Work That Matters.
Yeah. So what I want to know, put your book down because with the background, it's always hazy and we're going to put an image of the book in anyway, so it's all good. Who did you write this book for?
Mm.
When you started writing, who did you think you were writing for? Because I know this evolved. Who did you think you were writing for?
Oh, God, that's a great question, Anne. Originally I saw it as a memoir, and it was the wrong genre for me because I thought, oh, I'll use my life to inspire people, anybody who feels like they came out of adversity and they made a good life for themselves. That was it. I didn't even think about 20 years of working as a headhunter in New York City, finding people jobs until you said that one sentence in the 20 pages, all your skills are transferable, and the light went on. Did I think I could write another book about it? I went, oh my God, I just wrote one book. You want me to write another one? And then I went, okay, we're off and running. And then it was for me to realize almost instantly I lived through this. I stopped a career. I lost a job and reinvented myself and did it several times. And that's who I'm writing to people who may have lost a job, people in their 50s, 60s, 70s who aren't done yet, or maybe have been let go, fired. They're in shock and they don't know where to go. Me, I felt that. And then I was like, okay, pull up your socks, Michael, and let's get going here because you can reinvent yourself. You'll just find something to do. So I think that's what I felt. It shifted from memoir to inspirational book. And then I was able to really target my audience, which you helped me with to say, what age? What are their dynamics, physical, emotional dynamics? Who are they? And it just was like, okay, 50, 60, 70, even 80-year-old people.
I think
The
I have to pause here
yeah.
just for a moment too, because I'm rude.
No, you're not.
But I think those of us who get into coaching or consulting or are helpers, right? We're in the service profession. We we get here because we have some personal background. Like we have to fix ourselves first.
Yeah.
We've got this big life history, and we recognize that we're probably our own first customers, right? We're our own first clients. And I think a lot of people, including you, including myself even, like we recognize that our stories are a big part of why we do what we do. And
Mhm.
so we want to get our stories down because we do think that they're going to inspire somehow. And it's so easy to go down the memoir lane because people
Mhm.
will told you, told me, your story's so interesting, you should write a book, and that's what we tease out. And what I saw in your document, in your, first iteration of your manuscript was, yeah, super inspiring story. But like you said, what I spotted in it is you got the you got a framework. You've got these goods. You are able to help a certain group of people get a very particular result. And you knew this, but you didn't know it because
Mhm.
it's all over the place on how you can help people.
Right.
And I think for you, seeing that where people need the help and where they're showing interest in your story and why, that's the target audience because it's a demographic. But that
Mhm.
not only is it a demographic, it's a demographic that wants a certain thing and they want a transformation. I think you figured out what it is that they wanted. What do they want?
Right. And Anne, it's we've gone from demographic into the deeper aspect of psychographics. What art does this person have on their wall? Where do they like to vacation? How much money will they spend on a vacation? Where do they go to eat? What is their family? What are their family values? So I've gone deeper there. And then the other aspect that comes into this is why are so many people saying this book is needed now in big capital letters, NOW? And I'm like, well, there's a lot going on with the federal government where people are losing their jobs. They're in shock. They're in fear. And so I know something about that, so I can address it. And there's other people who have retired, and I met one of them on the workshop who was like, well, I'm way over here, Michael, and I'm retired and I have a lot of money and I don't have to worry. But, I'm not doing a lot. I belong to a hotline and I help people look for jobs who are scared and out. And I went, that's huge. That's gigantic. Congratulations. And she's like, faint about how important this is. And she's like a VP at a Citibank for years. And I'm like, you have so many skills. Why wouldn't you? So she writes back to me the other day and says, I went to the local library and I told them we should do a program like this, and I recommended your book. And I said, you should spearhead this. You should just spearhead this at the library and run it. You're brilliant. Just do it. But that's what I think is what you're saying is that these are the people I'm connecting with and I'm reaching out to as I learned who is my smallest spot, who are the people who get me and want to talk about what is my next encore? What's my next act? Where do
Mm.
I want? And I just don't want to sit around anymore. I don't need to be in retirement. And you led me there by saying, these are the people I think you want to and are going to be in touch with. And you kept me focused on it. And the more I wrote about it, the more I realized this is it. Did it take me a long time to get there? Sure, it did. Because I used to think, oh, I could do somebody in 40, 50, maybe 30, maybe a college kid about career, but it wasn't. And then the other aspect is, and it's why I wrote the book, to get better clients and to get people who can afford me.
Yeah. I think there's one thing that you kind of just skimmed over. The thing about a 50, 60, 70, 80 year old, as you alluded to, is some people have plenty of money and it and finding their next act isn't necessarily about finding a job that's going to pay them a lot of money. For sure in this economy, there are
Yeah.
plenty of people who are out the other side, without wanting to be out the other side, who need to figure out how to get a job. And your book goes very deeply into how to go about getting not just a job, but a job that is really right for you and that is going to utilize these skills that you've developed over the years. But it's also about not just about money. It's about there's a certain lucky set that don't need to worry about money, but coming off the back of a career and entering into no man's land. Who are you? What do you want for that next act? And for this person who'd gone from no doubt making a lot of money, having financial security, God bless,
Yeah.
to how do you use these things and feel a sense of purpose and significance and meaning? This book is for them too,
Yeah. Yeah.
because it's yeah, these are the skills. This is how you get the job. This is how you figure out how to, you know, get a job in a really tough market. But this is also how to make a life.
Exactly. Because I felt like she sort of had this, it's a phrase that I've, learned many years ago, ordinary doom, like I'm done, I'm over here, I'm volunteering a little. And I went, why do you sound so vacant, so sad? Because you're not done and you're still young. And I looked up her website and I wrote to her on LinkedIn and I said, hi, we should connect here. And she goes, don't worry, Michael, I'm updating my LinkedIn profile as we talk. I hired somebody. You don't have to worry. And I went, I wasn't worried, but I was critical of what it was. It was just resting there for years and it didn't need to. And then I think there's a lot of people who were on social media or maybe LinkedIn who are just in hold mode and they don't have to be, but that's their choice. If they want that, that's great. I'm happy to honor that. But then there's like this lady, I was like, wow, let's go because I have a feeling she's going to take off and start running things like she did as a vice president at Citibank. She didn't just sit back, she was in charge.
Mm.
So those are the things that I would like to encourage in people, and that's just who I am by nature. I'm like, I'm not done. What am I going to do now? Okay, I have an idea. Let's try and do this. Let's write this book and see where it goes,
All right, so let's talk about that book for a minute.
Okay.
A lot of people talk about wanting to write a book. Like every cocktail party I've ever been to, I meet at least 10 people who are, I've always wanted to write a book. And you've been through the process. You've talked about it and you've done it. Like, why do you think it's so hard for people to do it? And what did you have to kind of do or get over in order to begin writing it and then start taking what you had seriously enough to be hiring somebody for help?
Yeah, well, I think the first thing is I knew right away I needed an editor. I couldn't do this without it because I know I couldn't edit. Sometimes I would throw out my best work, and I couldn't do it. So I needed somebody to help me say, this is the direction in which to go. So the editor, you, was crucial. Two, I needed to work in, and that's what you provided, was a safe space, a place where I could trust you and the work that we did. So I could say anything that was on my mind or in my heart, and you didn't judge me. You allowed me to say, okay, let's write that, let's work it at, let's go. That is a huge thing, to work in a safe place, not by yourself. So there was respect, there was encouragement, there was opportunity, there was openness. That's what I really needed. To go even deeper, You offered organization and deadlines. I thrive on that. Give me organization and a deadline to meet, and I will meet it. You came up and suggested and made perfect sense. Write 2 hours a day, 6 days a week, do this for 6 months, and you'll have a book. So it made perfect sense to me. I altered my schedule because I'm a busy guy like everybody. And I created 2 hours in the morning every day, Sunday through Friday, where I would write for 2 hours. And sometimes I wrote for 4 or 8 hours because I was impassioned. Then I would send it to you. You would send it back, edit it. A week later, so every 2 weeks we met, you would then talk about, let's hold on to this, tack that over there. We're going to use this. Don't worry about the order it's coming in, but keep going. And this is what we're going to do. So that kept me in line exactly where I was going. I thrive on that. That works for me. So the challenge of it was, in a sense, easy, even though I was like, I don't know what to write here. And you would say, write it in a brick. This is it. Take a brick, write 200 words about this. I would. And then you would say, explain it. Or, I don't know, there's something else here. And if I came up with an idea and I said, I want to do this, or I wrote something else, you would say, let me look at it. And then you would tell me if you liked it or not and said, I think this is useful somewhere else. So it's the organization, the being able to count on somebody to be there that I trusted that made me feel like you can do this. Now you can do this. And you weren't judgmental of the material. You were also strong enough, fierce enough, and kind enough to say, we're not going there. You do not have to do this. You don't have to write about your life over here. That I appreciated. And you said, and if you do, let's really, struggle it out. Let's knock it out. And we did. And I would go, okay, I understand why. And I think the other aspect, which is very gratifying, is yeah, this is my book, but this is our book, Anne. You were my editor, you are the publisher. And when I say we wrote a book, that's what I feel. I feel that from you, connected to you, your team, Amy, Maddie, Melissa, Walt. I feel we were all in this together. And that made me feel proud because teamwork really matters to me. And I love that kind of situation. So these were like the elements that I didn't expect. And even one more when at the end you said, hi, we'd like to publish your book. I was honored. I was sort of shocked. I know you don't offer this to everybody as an editor. And so when you did it, I just felt like, yes, of course. Look how far we've come. Why wouldn't I say yes? And then, you were and are an editor, a book coach, and a book developer. So all of those hats, one hat in different directions, helped guide me down the road of inspirational book. And I'll quickly say again, I was on the memoir path. It was wrong for me. You came back and said we could do prescriptive nonfiction. We could do self-help. We could do inspiration. We could head towards biography, but I don't think that's it. We could head towards a business book, but I don't think that's it. You showed me, okay, there's other options that settled with me in my heart and in my gut that said, yeah, it's inspirational. That's it. So you were constantly there, you, your team, Summit Press publishers saying, this is where we should go. And even up to the moment before we signed a contract and you said, I feel you out there. Your book has value. I wouldn't say it if I didn't feel it. And I knew it wasn't about money. I knew it wasn't about getting another author to get a book to pay your mortgage. No, this was about you really feeling. And that's why I trusted you and respect you and love working with you because you really said this has value. And now people are saying this is important now at this time in the world, in the history of careers and human beings.
Oh,
So that's
your book
why
is coming out at such the right time.
I'm amazed at that. And you're right.
The number of people who have had lifelong careers who are being spat out the other side right now
Yeah.
is frightening.
Yeah.
It feels like a very unstable world. So being able to figure out ways to not be so dependent on this thing that you always had and to create something new is so key. So let me ask you, like, you're gonna have a lot of people ask you about how you wrote your book and what you did and what is the one thing that you think that most people should understand about the writing and the publishing process that there's just no way they can know because they haven't gone through it? Like, what's the key piece of advice you would give people?
Hmm. It's a good question.
It is a good question, right? Because they're going to be asking you, Michael.
Right. I think it's a matter of one, trusting the process of writing a book, and then to figure out what that process actually is. And you go deeper into why do I want to write this book? What is it about? How am I going to achieve it? What kind of plan am I going to get to? And to break through the fear. And the fear also will lessen when you figure out I can't do it alone. Who do I hire to be with me? How do I create a team or another person that can guide me through the process? I think there's so many people who have no idea what the process is to write a book, including how do you get a cover? How do you get an editor? How do you get a publisher? How do you get a copywriter that you can trust? And I return to that word. How do you find someone you can trust in an internet world where everybody says, I'm your guy, I'm your guy, I'm your guy? And you go, I don't even know you. How do I do this? So I think it's a matter of trust, respect, and to really know I have a book in me and this is what I want to say and why I want to say it. Now I have to find people to help me do it
Why are
and
we
not,
so afraid?
hmm. I think part of the big fear is that you really have to put yourself out there. You have to show up and commit to it, and you have to say your damnedest. You can't hide. If you say I'm going to write a book and you don't show up, that's not it. I think it's really the commitment, and the commitment means you got to work. You got to sweat. You got to put the effort in, and you got to come through. It just doesn't happen in a first draft. So I think that's part of it. Am I willing to do the work? Am I willing to put the effort in, the time, and really pour my heart and logic into this?
You know what I think too, just and I think you kind of showed this to me in our process. There's like so much to you.
Mhm.
There is so much to you. You have so many skill sets and such deep understanding of your target reader.
Mhm.
And and I think that most people do not fully comprehend what goods they do have. So there's always this fear of, am I going to show enough on the page? Am I suddenly going to look like a paper tiger, an empty suit,
Yeah.
or this wannabe? And because most people don't know really how much value they bring to the table and what they have, like all of those transferable skills that you help people find and develop and identify. Like writers are like your people who don't know what they have and haven't thought
Yeah.
that through and haven't identified that. So they're afraid to, go out there because what do they have? They don't even recognize what they have. You didn't recognize the whole package. And I think
You're
that
right.
that's scary.
It is. Yeah. You were the one, Anne, I returned to who said, here it is. All your skills are transferable. And bingo, I went, you have over 20 years finding people jobs, not in a rinky-dink town, in New York City, dealing with top corporations, dealing with people from, data entry reception people all the way to human resource directors, lawyers, accountants, whatever it was. And yes, in many ways, Anne, I didn't know myself well enough. I wasn't able to until I started to write the book to say, this is who I am and this is what I do. And this is the advantage you can have if you work with me. This is it. Thank you. Whether I'm working for myself as a private coach and a career guide, or whether I'm going into an interview saying you need to hire me as your outside sales director or your customer service rep or your my CXO, chief experience officer or chief listening officer to get your company on its feet and to get maintain your clients and do this. You're 100% correct. I didn't wholly know. But as we focused on it and we focused on the audience and what I had to say, I saw more of my value to the world. That was it, and to a specific aspect of the world. And it was all there.
What was going on in your life when you finally decided to invest in your ideas?
Yeah.
What made you finally ready?
I think it was the fact that I had written this draft, I had stuck it in a drawer. I spoke to someone about it. They said, get it out. I read it again. I did some work on it. And I said, if you don't do it now, if you don't finish this product, you will have regret. This is my legacy. This is who I am. And I wanted to put it in the world because one, I have something to say of value. And two, I wanted to make sure it was written down in print, real, tangible for other people to handle. That's what I felt. And if I didn't do it, it would be probably the biggest regret of my life. And I do think there's a lot of people out there who have books in them and they're regretting it that they're not trying to do it. And they
Yeah.
shouldn't. They should just go forward, get a good editor, get going and do it. And you can find it. And that's what I needed. I needed that push. And then you came back again. I repeat it. What you have to say has value in it. Do not sit on the fence. Come on. And I was like, thank you for caring enough to come forward and ask me. And I think that's what a good book editor or a good coach does. They guide you, they ask questions, they don't force you, just say, okay, let's go in this direction. Let's see what that's about. Yeah, you helped me recognize my value.
I want to know what it feels like to be a published author.
Oh my God.
I want to know what it feels.
Woo!
No, I want to know what it feels like.
It's uh it's emotional. It leaves you speechless with wonder and with great pride and gratitude, and you logically get it at the same time that your heart's like bursting out of your chest, and you also feel like I didn't know all of this was in me, and I'm so grateful I could give it form and structure. It makes you really proud and grateful and emotional, and you're jumping up and down, and you just, I don't know, you all of a sudden respect yourself in a deeper way. You just feel like you did this. Congratulations.
Do you know what I'm excited about? Like you're not everyone is like you.
Mm,
Not everyone is Michael Feely, but you are going to take this book and you are going to do amazing things with it.
mm.
You're
Thank you.
going to do amazing things with people and for people.
Mm,
But I see you on podcasts and stages and
mm,
creating communities. And one of your skill sets that, like, if I could clone you, if I could take what is in your spirit, it's not a head thing, it's a spirit thing, and gift it to people, it would be just reaching out for what you want and asking for what you want and not being a weenie
mm,
about
mm.
asking for help or overstepping your boundaries or whatever it is that we're the nice people in us,
Yeah.
including myself, have a real issue with because you're gracious, you're direct, and I'm sorry, you're ambitious
For the right reason.
for the right, well, yes, it's ambition gets a bad rap.
Yeah, and it's bigger. My ambition is bigger than myself. My ambition has to do with reaching a community of other people and saying you can have a better life. You can live your best life And I return to the fact of we get one time, man. You get one run. You can't return your life and say, this didn't work, give me a new life. So you've got to make your best life. Why not take the shot? And yes, I think you're 100% correct. And in the book, I write about this. You got to create your opportunities. And yes, you need to ask for what you want, but you need to be really clear about it in detail. Why do I want this? What will it do for me? And then ask for it with professionalism, with dignity, with gratitude, and with art, and not take no for an answer. It's the difference between saying, I want $1 million. Why do you want a million? I want to live comfortably. Are you sure you need a million? Are you sure that's what you need? You have to fine tune it and say, this is what I need to live my best life. And I don't have a fear about it because I always wind it down to, this is what I want. This is why I want it. And this is how I'm going to go after it. And if I'm not right for you, thanks for raising your hand. I'll go somewhere else. But I have something I want to offer to you, and I can also teach you how to ask for what you want with dignity, with courage, with respect, with confidence, because you've got skills, you've got assets, you've got a rich life experience that other people need. So, yes, thank you for saying that. That's a huge thing in myself and in this book.
You are a critter to be studied. But all right, so I think people get the opportunity to feel you and study you and learn from you through your book,
That's so
right?
nice.
Like there's
Thank you.
no better way of understanding you and how you think and how your process for helping people figure out what the next act is, and not just figure it out, but then to go after it and to make it happen as opposed to sitting on the sidelines. So we got your book, and they can find your book on Amazon. But where else can people experience you and learn about, what kinds of services you offer and where you can help them? Where should they go to see you?
Well, first of all, you can go to my website. You can go to michaelfeelylifecoach.com, and in there, you'll read about who I am and what I do. And also, I write every single day and publish every single day. I have for over 5 years. I've blogged for 14, steadily 5 years every single day. So there's something in there for everybody about self, gratitude, fears, doubts, blocks, coaching techniques. You can find me there. You can find me on LinkedIn. I've been on LinkedIn for years. It's a professional community that I really respect, and I connect with people. And I don't connect with everybody. I'm not looking for 600,000 likes or followers. I'm looking for people that I can really help and people who really care about my material and my work. And I think there may be other places coming up where you'll find me on podcasts. And I hope that, if you like my book and that, reach out to people and say, interview Michael Feeley, buy the books and give them out to your friends. That's where I really think is important.
You
And
know
if you,
what? And they should leave a review.
yeah,
Write a book, read it, implement it, and for God's sakes, leave a review. Because
right.
why do we want reviews, Michael? Can you tell the average citizen why somebody leaving your book a review matters to you?
It really validates what my work is. It says that humanity out there in whatever capacity, whatever level they're at, says, I see value in this book. That's why I'm leaving the review. I'm encouraging you. And as I read some of the reviews, I'm really surprised and tremendously grateful that somebody took the time to read the book and then write the review and to say things that are so relevant to what's going on in the world and also in their lives. And you'll find when you look at the front of the book, there's 14 really incredible endorsements from people that I'm just honored, surprised, grateful for. And these are people who I went after to validate my work. Some people need to see he's an award winner. Some people need to see he studied with this, he went to this school, whatever. Whatever it is, I will go after it to let you know I am a possibility for you. You can trust me. These people trust me, the quality of the book on the inside pages. Trust me, it's professional. And that's what I went after. And I returned to you, Anne. You gave me a professional book. I asked for that. And it's a book that could appear in any bookstore. I'd be proud of it. That's what I wanted. From the moment you see it and touch it, that was part of my goal because I'm a professional. So that's part of why I think it is. Tell me what else I'm missing.
Yeah. I love that. So, everybody, go buy The Next Act, leave a review, and look for Michael in all of the platforms because he's going to probably be blowing up very quickly, but in a good way.